Welcome back to another Guava Reacts video on the Guava Plus channel. Today we're watching why US malls are dying and why European malls aren't. As someone who is from South Florida, Miami, I can definitely back up the claim that US malls are dying, and obviously it's facts. A lot of them get bought out or abandoned. There's a lot of abandoned malls in the US that either were just poorly managed, terrible owners, poor placement, natural disasters, poor selection of stores. There's a lot of different things that can impact the shopping mall, but I completely disagree that shopping malls will disappear, because I literally live next to, I think it's anywhere from the third to the fifth biggest mall in the United States. Not in the world, not in North America. I think if it's in North America, it'd be like the sixth or seventh largest or something like that. And the largest in the state of Florida, which is Aventura Mall. It's massive. Again, like third to fifth biggest in the US, and we are getting a new mall soon called American Dream Miami. American Dream Mall is something in, I think, New Jersey or Pennsylvania or something. It's the biggest mall in America right now. It has like an indoor ski slope and whatever. Let me actually find a picture online. Yeah, there it is. This is American Dream Miami, or like what it's projected to be. It's gonna be massive. Look at this picture right here. Retail, luxury, art deco village, movie theater, live theaters, miniature golf, outdoor fishing center, sports center, water park, a whole water park, a whole theme park. Hold on, there's like other pictures outside too. It's gonna happen as far as I know, but we don't know when because all the land permits haven't been done yet. And it's a very long-term plan. Like a huge problem with Miami, I guess, is I don't want to pay for this. Seriously? What is that? The big problem with Miami, people don't have faith that anything's ever gonna happen. They don't believe things, because the problem with Miami is things will happen. It just takes very long. Whether that's because of land disputes or permits or whatever else, or just getting all the paperwork done, it takes very long here. But there's a lot of cool infrastructure, and I do want to make a video about that, like about a bunch of cool things that are coming to Miami, which will also go up on the Guava Plus channel. I just want to record a lot of React videos because I like watching videos, but then I feel like I should record myself watching them, like reacting to them, and just like, it's something some people might watch. Even it can get anywhere from like 5 views, which one of my Guava React videos got, to hundreds to thousands of views, which is awesome. Like some of you get to watch videos with me, which is really cool. But yeah, Aventura Mall right next to me. Another mall right next to me is the mall at 163rd in Miami, which will be a video on one of my company channels, Perfect Detour, of me just like walking through and just giving a little small amount of detail as to what it used to be, what happened to it. But the gist is that this mall pretty much has nothing. Aventura Mall opened, everyone moved over there because it's massive, and they're expanding it, by the way. Then it has a bunch of outdoor shopping centers. They own this land, and they have like a bunch of strip malls outside of it too, like big anchor stores and supermarkets and stuff, all in the mall's property too. And it's covered and surrounded by hotels too. But basically all the stores went there. They didn't really maintain it well. They lost a lot of land. They lost their movie theaters. There's a Home Depot built on the same land now, which I think is where the movie theaters used to be. And I think there used to be land, which is Walmart now. There's a Walmart next to me, which is terrible. It's a terrible Walmart, but it's like the Walmart everyone goes to in northwest or northeast Miami, which is Aventura, North Miami Beach, North Miami, Miami Beach, segment of Miami, Miami Gardens. Everyone all has one Walmart. Everything else, there's like a few other things, but they're all neighborhood Walmarts. I don't know why there's only one Walmart store. I'm guessing land, and also like it's expensive and it's terrible. Like it's so crowded. But yeah, it's dead. There's maybe up to 3 to 5 stores open out of like dozens and dozens and dozens of units, and the land itself has slowly decreased over time. It's a dead mall. Like I don't know how it's still open or why they even have the doors unlocked or anything. What I'm guessing is that they're probably waiting for the leases to expire because it'd get bought by another company, and as far as I know, they are going to redevelop it, or they might just tear down the land, tear down the building, which would be super expensive, and build something new. I honestly wish that we could move the Home Depot and the Walmart rebuild them to be a lot nicer and then integrate them with the mall or somehow. It used to be an outdoor mall too, and they built a tent on it. And then there's another mall here called Midway Crossings. This is a new name. It also got bought by a new developer, which already has plans to becoming cool. But what's the it's called Mall of Americas, I think it's what it's called. Yeah, this is it. These are both two completely dead malls. It has nothing, and like neither of them have anything in them anymore. They used to be super nice, apparently. Like I saw some videos from back in the day of it. It's dead. Is that what it used to look like? Mall at 163rd Shopping Center. That's huge. That is not the same building. There's no way. Yeah, that's not the same building. What is that? Yeah, this is what it used to look like, you know, nice and people. This Marshall's is shut down. The second floor is shut down. The first floor is open, but there's no one there. But yeah, it's a dead mall. It has nothing in it. There's nothing even in the centers anymore. And Mall of Americas. Oh, this is showing pictures for another mall. This is Mall of Americas or Midway Crossings. I don't know if there's gonna be anything on here. That's it. There's nothing inside. It's really gross. Is it the same thing? I don't know. It got bought up by a developer and they're gonna make it super nice. But yeah, outdoor they're building a new Costco, I think, a new Home Depot, Five Below, Old Navy. It's gonna be a huge thing as far as I know. Oh, this is Atlanta. Apparently there's another mall there. I'm guessing it's the same company. Like maybe it'll be a series of malls. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But let's go back to
this video is sponsored by Exter. Welcome to the 1990s, the former Eastern Bloc, a beautiful, wealthy, inspiring place left behind by the dying, retreating Russian Empire. Suppose you wanted to do some shopping. Where will you go? Oh, I know, those beautiful Soviet-era shopping centers seen by many on those Soviet retro-themed social media pages, full of the finest wares of the Eastern Bloc. Sorry, I couldn't keep a straight face there. No, if you wanted to do shopping, you did not in fact go to the shopping center. Instead, you went where the rest of society went, to dismal outdoor markets, selling vegetables, knockoff clothing, homemade food preserves and so on, from cars, vans, often entire buses. It was chaotic, dirty, loud, often taking place on random sidewalks or in underpasses. As you milled around the makeshift stands in the crowd, looking at the knickknacks being sold, people haggling, old women counting coins in their hands, you thought of a photo you saw of an American shopping center. You called it a shopping center because you did not have a word for it yet. That is, the mall. Beautiful, clean, air-conditioned, full of Western stores and their wares, fast food restaurants like McDonald's and others you've never even heard about, people strolling around wearing the latest fashion. Surely all of them are drinking Coca-Cola and Pepsi Cola too, not this piss water they sell around here. Palm trees, fountains, colorful lights. You're pretty sure there is American rock music playing in the background too. You don't know, it was a photograph. Your thoughts are interrupted as you look down and realize you've stepped into shit, and an old lady is yelling at you to move from her stand if you ain't buying anything. The shopping mall was the ultimate symbol of 1990s Western prosperity, and it wasn't long before they spread through Europe too, including the former Eastern Bloc. Today, malls in places like Budapest, Prague or Warsaw are basically indistinguishable from their modern American counterparts, except for one thing. Malls in Europe are thriving, while in the US they are slowly dying out. Why is that? People often say it's because of Amazon and online commerce, but Europe has those too. Is it a purchasing power issue? But how? America is the richest country on the planet. Lots of full wallets over there. Though sometimes those wallets need replacement and additional company. This is where Exter comes in with their compact, stylish, neat products.
I'm not
Most common arguments.
I've watched so many. I don't know if Extra wallets or the other wallet brand is better. I forgot what it's called. It's like the very slim metal wallets. But yeah, I really want American malls to make a comeback everywhere. The mall next to me, I have this dream one day I'll be so wealthy that I can buy it out, completely rebuild it from the ground up, buy some additional land from neighboring land. Who knows? Maybe we can kick out that Home Depot and rebuild it somewhere else, and that Walmart, and make it a massive retro themed mall. That'd be so cool. Like I want to build the Stranger Things mall. I also found out Stranger Things, the Starcourt company, is a real thing. Oh, and here's another example of a mall that's like dead. Jerome, Idaho. Or no, not Jerome, Idaho. Twin Falls, Idaho. Magic Valley Mall. Ain't nothing there, bro. That thing's dead. And those small towns have so many cool things. Like you used to have a bowling alley, movie theaters, and all that shut down. You have to go to the city.
Cited for the death of
Sucks.
US malls is online commerce. The fact that people are now able to order from the internet from the comfort of their homes. And sure, online commerce didn't exactly help malls, but as I mentioned, online commerce is also very much present in Europe, and malls over there are doing fine. So I'm comfortable stating that the decline of US malls is not because of online commerce, though it certainly didn't help. And so I've identified 3 actual key reasons which we will go through now, including the last one, which no one talks about, but is absolutely crucial in my opinion. In fact, that might be the most important reason for the death of US malls. And yet, people seem to ignore it. So, let's go through the reasons. Malls are only alive as long as they have customers who can afford to buy their
It's so expensive now. I think since 2008, malls have been going down. Not just Amazon. Did Amazon exist? No, Amazon's old. It's like 20 plus years old. Every single financial recession, the U.S. takes a really hard hit. Things are too expensive in the U.S. I think a major thing, honestly, here would be for a president, no matter who, and both sides to work together because it mutually benefits everyone, would be to completely standardize a lot of work, go through all state legislation, clean up any bullshit legislation or regulation. Same at the federal level. Increase open trade with everyone, but incentivize companies heavily to produce in the United States. Rebuild all infrastructure to allow real car infrastructure, first of all, because driving 55 on a broken highway with overly sized lanes that is at gridlock makes no sense. Lanes should be way smaller. Speed limit should be way faster. Things should be maintained a lot more well. All cities and towns should have real biking infrastructure, so like separate biking roads, not just little painted lanes with possible plastic poles to keep cars out, and real pedestrian infrastructure. Outside of that, there should be trams in every city. There should be trains going to every large city and every little town. Everything should be connected. Everything should be only 30 minutes at most. Like, you should be able to go to a small town and a train goes there like every half hour to an hour. I don't know why we make it so difficult and overly reliant on cars. Hyperloop would be super cool to explore for transporting cargo. I don't think it's possible for the average person without like military training to take 700 miles per hour like in a vacuum sealed tube. I think something about like the G-force is too much or something. But yeah, infrastructure heavily redone for all those segments, especially transportation, a lot more foliage. And then what we can do from that, a mix of nuclear fusion and like nuclear power and whatever, to make power cheaper, better waste management, water treatment, and completely overhaul and just kill zoning in North America altogether is absurd. It is terrible. Single family houses with all these specific like parking requirements, with the road sizes, all this stuff is terrible. Single family homes are terrible. Allow multi units everywhere, allow stores everywhere. Every neighbor should have a store from within like a 5-minute walking distance at most actually. Yeah, I don't know. The population density is not that high in a lot of America, but traffic is terrible because we have to drive 50 miles out to go do something. It's crazy. That's little. If you want to fix America, clean up all the regulation, clean up all the legislation, all the states, standardize things like education and stuff. Even though I'm not even for standardization, I lean more right. But yeah, a lot more standardization, clean things up, and completely overhaul the zoning system, completely overhaul the infrastructure. 10-15 years, it'll completely pay off. All the debt will be paid off for all of that, and we'll see purchasing power will maintain itself, rebounds from everything constantly.
Stuff. And in the US, this isn't the case everywhere. Entire regions lost their well-paying jobs as industry went offshore. Looking at the central US today, those libertarians weren't joking. The free market really took care of those regions. As high-paying jobs left, so did many people. Those who stuck around were considerably poorer and often couldn't keep many of the malls alive. So did this happen in Europe? Well, not really. European economies are built differently, especially those in the EU. Yes, there is a competitive capitalist market, but with important quirks. To illustrate this, let me talk about about trains for a moment. A couple of weeks ago, I went hiking to the Czech Republic. First, I took a train from Leipzig to Chemnitz, where I met my friend. The next day, we took another train to Dresden. Both of these trains were operated by a company called Transdev. Then we went on to Liberec on a train operated by the company Die Länderbahn. Finally, from Liberec, we took a train operated by Arriva to Železný Brod. So private rail operators all the way. Or were they? Arriva is owned by Deutsche Bahn, the German state railway. Die Länderbahn is a Trenitalia subsidiary, which is the Italian state railway. And Transdev is majority owned by the French government. And these state-owned companies compete in free market tenders across the EU, where they try to offer the best price they can to local governments to provide rail service on a given line. Usually anyway. It's an interesting mixture of the private and the publicly owned. It's like a state capitalist free market. And it seems to be working pretty well. All this is to illustrate European economies work differently and aren't subject to the same types of shocks the US economy is. With very few exceptions, European purchasing power has been rising across the board, even in Central and Eastern Europe, the poorer parts indicated by this chart. And this increase has been more geographically even compared to the US, so there aren't any continent-sized, newly appeared economic black holes like the Rust Belt, or such enormous, unaffordable urban areas like on the West Coast. Also, in Eastern Europe, major regional economic depressions happened before malls came about, so local malls dodged that bullet, but they did something else in Europe, or rather, they didn't do something, which Americans did. American malls are exotic in the sense that there are so many of them. Copious amounts of commercial space was built out in the form of enclosed malls, outdoor malls, power centers, lifestyle centers, and so on. Consequently, there is a lot more commercial space per capita than in Europe. A lot more. Like 10 times more than Germany, for example. And in German cities where there is an oversupply, like Chemnitz, the city I've recently talked about, you get the same mall deaths.
You know what sucks though? Is that even with this high amount, there's like really nothing to do anywhere. Like everything is a strode, everything's ugly, unenjoyable to go through. I love cars, but our car infrastructure is terrible. And that terrible car infrastructure makes it terrible for pedestrians, for cyclists, and for drivers. But people don't realize that. And it's like, I love malls. Like I would never want Amateur Mall to close. 163rd could be turned into a cool like outdoorsy area. I would enjoy it. But you can't walk anywhere, you can't bike anywhere, and it's impossible to drive even comfortably. Like there's nothing to see or do outside of like going to malls or like cool stores or like centers of stuff. It's bad.
But Chemnitz is an exception because those malls and shopping centers used to have a demand base. It's just that following the fall of the Berlin Wall, people started leaving for former West Germany and suddenly there was a commercial oversupply. But such a situation couldn't happen otherwise in Europe, as regulations that govern building new commercial space are far more stringent than in the US. Libertarians call this government red tape crippling the economy, while adults call it necessary regulations to avoid mass closures and urban decay. The large number of US malls also means they are of lower quality and more mass-produced. Take a look at this one. The former Metro Center Mall in Phoenix, Arizona. Why is it falling apart like that? What material did they use? Cardboard? If any country builds that many malls, it is inevitable that many of them will end up cheap and mass-produced, both inside and outside, both architecturally and in terms of what they offer. And the mass-produced, standardized, consumerist bullshit just isn't something people look for nowadays. Compare the Metro Center Mall to, say, Palladium in the center of Prague. This is the facade of the mall. That's a real historical building into which they integrated the whole thing, and it continues on behind. It's a well-made building, and the interior is also high quality. It's actually right across an old Soviet-era shopping center too, so that's a neat callback to the start of the video. But Palladium is a positive example in something else as well. The third reason why US malls are dying. Namely,
do you see how many parking spots there are? Like, I hate parking, especially like Amateur Mall doesn't really have this much parking like outdoors like that, but in the garage buildings, my god, there's so many and there's so many spots. You have to park so far out because there's so many people on cars. It's like
this terrible. Is the issue I barely hear anyone talk about when it comes to dying malls. Yes, purchasing power and oversupply are important, but where the mall is and what's around it is also just as important. Looking at Palladium, there's a tram stop right next to it, a metro station, and it's a corner away from Masarykovo, the commuter rail station. Palladium is very easy and convenient to get to. So what, you might say? US malls have ample parking and they are easy to get to as well by car. Sure, but that's part of the problem. Car-centric US cities are more spread out, which means the mall will be further away from you. Now then, you want to buy an item. Say you want to find a birthday gift for your aunt or something. Do you then get in your car, drive down to the mall, get through a traffic jam, trudge across the parking lot, then look for a gift and then do the same process on the way back home? Or do you just go, fuck it, and order something from Amazon? With Palladium, even if I live on the outskirts, I can just go by metro and be there door to door in about half an hour. Once again, this is from the edge of the city. American malls are usually not built near any meaningful public transit. transit. In fact, they are usually not built near any meaningful place. Compare these 4 European malls, 2 from Prague and 2 from Budapest, with these 4 American malls, from Phoenix, Las Vegas, Oklahoma City, and Orlando. The reason why Amazon and similar online commerce platforms cannot compete with the first group but can threaten the second group is because malls in the first group are integrated into the city. The surrounding environment isn't just a parking lot. There are things to do and see, and you can end up in those malls even completely organically, as in unplanned, as part of you walking around downtown.
That's a really cool thing about it works and it doesn't work in Aventura Mall because of all of that. And also there's a train station now. Oh, this is what really helps Aventura Mall. It literally has a bus station built in, like right, like a few steps away from like one of the entrances, because it's a hub for a bunch of buses and stuff. Like they have spots for like maybe 8 to over a dozen buses like to be there at a time. It's super easy. Like if you're all the way in South Beach, which is like 10 to 20 miles away, you can just get on. It does take a while though, because our bus systems are terrible, because the roads are terrible, but yeah, it's a really cool thing. With that, there's also a new train service in the state of Florida called Brightline. It's a private company, but it's like private and publicly funded, I guess. And they're also building a Brightline West, which is going to connect Las Vegas to Los Angeles, I believe. But yeah, they're building from Miami to Fort Lauderdale to Boca Raton, I believe, West Palm Beach, all the way to Tampa, Orlando, Tallahassee. They're building everywhere and connecting everything. It's across the road. I do believe they're building a corridor from the actual train stop to the mall, because there's no actual way to cross over. There's no crosswalk there either. It's not intended to be crossed over. It used to be just vegetation over it before. So I think there's doing something like that, and I'm not sure if some other public services that we have are going to be built into it. But yeah, I think that would be sick.
The second group, you have to make a conscious effort to go there.
Another cool thing is in the city of Miami Beach, in South Beach, there's a mall called Lincoln Road Mall, which is an outdoor mall. It's a really long strip. It's built into the city pretty much. Like, it is built into the city, which is awesome. And South Beach has so much, it's a lot of walking and biking, so it helps it a lot. Those are 2 thriving malls, and we have another mall coming. I think it's like Miami Metro Mall or something. It's another luxury mall. Aventura Mall is technically a luxury mall. Lincoln Road is like a mix of stuff. But yeah, Miami Metro Mall is going to be an extremely high-end luxury jewelry thing, and it's being built into downtown Miami, which is also a lot of walking and biking around, and like kind of like a New York, Chicago style place, I think. I don't know if that's a great way of explaining it.
Nobody will trudge through a kilometer of parking lots on foot. The GPS won't take you there spontaneously. You have to make the decision at home to go there and then make the effort. Then companies like Amazon come along and say, hey buddy, we can save you all that effort. And so the malls are dying. Malls, hell, all commerce has to be an organic part of towns and cities. People should be able to get to them by means other than a car, and conveniently. Such
nice.
Integrated commercial spaces are far more resilient. If your commercial spaces aren't resilient, if you just plop a big box outside the town, don't be surprised when it goes bust in a few years, and then it's bulldozed for the next thing to be put up, for it to go bust the same way, and then get bulldozed, and then the next thing, and the next, and the next, so on and so forth. And this is why many American malls are either dead or dying. In the end, it all comes down to policy, economic and urban planning. If you're an American and want to do something about this, Strong Towns is just the organization for you, fighting for the exact things I've mentioned in this video, aiming to create living, resilient, human-centric places instead of the mass-produced car-centric retail deserts. So do check them out. And I thank everyone for watching, and as a reminder, you can use my link in the description to get up to 35% off extra products. And I'll be seeing you next time at the mall.
That was a really good video. I liked it. It made me talk a lot. That was only like 10 minutes of video, but it's 23 minutes of video because it really got me thinking. But yeah, that's something that really is never talked about, is the urban planning. But yeah, I'm very well aware of that one. The 163rd Mall also, like, it's not really well built into the city. It's so far away from anywhere. It's like in the middle of the city. But yeah, it's not really well designed. They didn't really maintain it well. They literally got rid of their movie theater. Like, come on. Yeah, no, I've noticed that here it's a lot better because a lot of our malls are actually really well integrated into cities. And those are the ones that are thriving. So, the one of those malls I was talking about, the mall at 160, not mall 163rd, the Midway Crossings, or used to be Mall of Americas before they got bought. it's not built well into the city. Like, you have to drive, and it's off the highway is how you get there. It's off the highway. That tells you as much as you need to know. And a lot of these malls I've seen that are only doing well because they're tiny. Like, there's a lot of tiny malls here, because they're small and they're like plopped into the middle of the city. Some other malls I know about, they're only well because they're either off the highway or like they're like built into the city is the only reason to do well. Anyways, I really do hope malls get a lot better. I hope urban planning in America in general gets better, because it sucks. Like, quality of life is really bad here and expensive. It can be so much better if we had better planning, better infrastructure, but no. That said, I am very grateful to be living in the United States. I am very grateful for my parents immigrating here. So, yeah, that's the thing. This country is definitely a land of opportunity where you can definitely make things happen, but it can be done a lot better, and it's very corrupt. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you guys never miss a video. TasteGuava.com in the description below to see all my other socials, all my other channels, my podcast, my newsletter, my blog, which are all coming soon if they haven't already started by the time this video comes out, because I'm recording a lot more videos at once because I'm trying to be more daily uploady on across all my channels. Yeah, and also my live streams, TasteGuava.com/live streams, and then check out my Discord server in the description below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.